Good morning, lovely people.
Good morning.
We're dialing in from, where are we now? Which area?
Lone Hill.
Lone Hill, there we go. It is the 999 portal, people. It is such an important event of change and development and letting go of shit in your life. You have to. From the 7th, when Aries stepped into the blood moon, into Neptune, we are going right through until the 21st of September with so many changes in our lives, whether it be emotional, personal, mentally, financially, in business areas. You have to understand the change that is developing and changing and going through you as a conduit and as an energy portal in this planetary system for you to evolve into your timeline that you're calling in. But if you are going to be stuck in that mentality of nothing's going to change, nothing's going to move, I'm going to be stuck, I'm going to keep on staying in the same position financially, it's not going to change. You have now got an opportunity in this 999 portal to make all of those things happen.
To keep it very simple and user-friendly, I gave my family this advice, my immediate family. If you find yourself looping into negative thoughts, whether it be anger, whether it be jealousy for a friend, anything negative, old thoughts, unhappiness with yourself, any of that stuff, any of those loops happening in your brain, recognize, jeepers, I'm actually being quite negative here. Stop that thought immediately. Like I said last week, you never have to ever finish a thought. And once you recognize that you're having this negativity, even if it's once in the day, twice in the day, make the conscious decision. And this is what this time is all about. Make the conscious decision. I am going to be positive. I'm thinking positively. Because once you start behaving in that way, in your thought pattern, this puts you in the right direction for where you're actually wanting to go. It's those negative, harboring old stuff, even the new stuff that can negatively be influencing us. You know, this fear mongering. There's a split down Africa and all these
And the war
and the eruptions that are happening all over the planet, the earthquakes, flooding, fires,
tsunamis, hurricanes,
all of those things. We're constantly looping ourselves into these fear things unless you see it as, how can I turn this negative into a positive? You need to be quite creative about it.
Yeah.
You start thinking, well, Gaia, she's actually waking up. She's actually moving and shifting, and this is a good thing.
Correct.
It is no longer a fearful thing. And so once we start doing that, you then set yourself up in that positive framework. Then practices that you can do this. I mean, I'm big on the practices.
Yes.
More than just having the conversations, it's all about now, how do you recognize it? How do you turn these negatives into a positive? I've recently come across something quite exciting. The lady called them the magic pages. I like to call them my positive pages.
Okay.
And every morning you dedicate a little bit of time. It doesn't need a lot of time, just a little bit of time. And you think about what happened yesterday. The positive things that happened yesterday. You do not use these pages to scroll on about how they should have, or why didn't I, or poor me. No, it's about what good thing happened yesterday. And it can be very small. My dog looked into my eyes and I saw his soul and I just melted. If that's the only good thing and positive thing that happened, you do that. And this actually trains the brain to be more positive, because what you are and what you think is what is reflected in the outside reality. And I thought it was quite amazing. Sorry, and one more thing about that is we've just had the blood moon, right? This week.
Beautiful blood moon.
It was magnificent. I watched it from beginning to end, and we got the binoculars out. It was so
Fabulous.
cool.
That's
And
fun.
as I saw it, like just like that, it, you know, you could see the shadow going over the moon and the whole thing. But when you looked at it through the binoculars, you could actually see this to be the shadow. And what occurred to me was, where in reality do we actually see Gaia's shadow? We don't. It is an incredibly rare thing to see. And then my mind just went out, zoomed out further, and I thought, well, here I am on the planet. There's the moon. But now the shadow is being created by the sun, which is behind us. And it suddenly dawned on me that there's a much bigger communion that's happening that we think only happens here on this planet. But no, here are these heavenly bodies that are affecting each other in the cosmos that we can now see the effects of. And taking it a step further from that, that this is the way they communicate. So the sun is behind, the moon is over here, and so these beings on the moon, if there are beings on the moon, maybe we don't see them in another dimension. What is their experience? So I'm seeing the shadow of Gaia that we are on, that we are part of. And they now not getting the warmth of the sun, and they're in the shadow area. And what does that reflect back to us? Which is what we're dealing with, is our shadow. And we can either get involved in the shadow and all the screaming that's going on, or we can look up and be in awe of the beauty and this huge communion that's so much bigger than ourselves, and how we are actually part of this communion, and how our negativity, just being ignorant to it all and being part of this skirmish that's going on, the fear, the war, the eruptions, we can pull ourselves out and be in awe. And this awe connects you directly to the heart frequencies. And as you do that, it raises. And so it raises Gaia in the same way. She is also viewing her own shadow on the moon. The moon is reflecting who she is, what she is.
100%.
Yes.
So for the viewers who don't know, and probably what we've now forgotten to do this morning, I'm Sylvana, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Sylvana.
We are assuming that, you know, the same eyes will see the video. And it dawned on me, no, not the same eyes will see the video again. So I'm Sylvana. This is Gwen next to me. And when we signed off on our last podcast last Tuesday, I dropped a little note that we are going to talk about Sophia Code today.
Indeed.
Oh, I tell you, people.
Indeed.
When I moved to Four Ways, I joined a esoteric group, which was founded by a lovely lady by the name of Samira. She started the group. And it's a small little, tiny little group of select people who are on the same frequency vibe of looking inwardly, realizing that you are energy, and how do you evolve that energy and lift that energy up in that frequency, that prong, because we are all prongs. We vibrate on frequency. So if we had to take a fork and tap it on a piece of metal and you hear that twang that comes through on that frequency, that's exactly what all of us are. But we don't know how to bring this part and this part together to each other to make the twang noise. And the moment that you can make that twang, that vibration noise, like this, you start raising your frequency in your DNA, because you've got frequency stuck in your DNA that was implanted in you pre your birth in this realm. So then I joined the esoteric group and I started asking very small questions every now and again. I'm going through this, I'm feeling this, I don't know what to do with this. And I was going through my religion phase, and why this and who is this and where do I fit into all of this cosmos? And I think it was in October of last year.
Yes, roundabout.
Gwen responded to a message on the group, and then she went into my, privately on my DM. We connected, we chatted, and then she said to me, maybe we should have coffee and talk. And I left it because there were so many other things happening in my timeline at that moment that I did not have the capacity or the space to set aside some time for Gwen to meet with her. So come January of this year, and I just had this enormous push from source and from my ancestors and from my guides and from my angels and all my bodies telling me, you need to meet Gwen. There's a step that you need to activate inside of your DNA that has been lying dormant for as long as you were created. And that's another story, another discussion that we'll get into later. So we each have keys inside of us that are just sitting there waiting to get unlocked. And those keys are imprinted in your DNA. And as scientists start tapping into the DNA strand and how does it operate, how does it work, how does it function, they're starting to realize that there's so much more to the DNA that no one wants to acknowledge or give title or proof to.
Or even understand.
Yes. So I meet Gwen and we get together for a coffee date in Lone Hill, thinking it's just going to be an ordinary discussion. I'll tell you, the moment I saw her, there was a resonance between myself and her. We saw each other, we looked at each other. There was a type of familiarity that we knew that at some point our lives must have crossed in some other timeline.
Definitely.
For us to have that moment of a coffee date again at Lone Hill Shopping Centre. And then we sat down and we started chatting.
But let's set up the scene.
Yes,
because
please.
it was quite a scene. So we're sitting there, the sun is shining, there's lots of buzz and people and birds and stuff, traffic's happening. And we sat down at this table and I took one look at her and I knew exactly where she was at. And I knew that she needed to know about Sophia Code. I had, which we'll go into in a few minutes, an enormous experience with Sophia Code. And I just knew that I needed to speak to her about it. And my main goal was to find out if what had happened to me would happen to someone else during this experience of Sophia Code. So we're sitting there having this intense conversation. There was not a waiter to be seen. Nobody bothered us. Normally waiters come, they give you the menu, they get your coffee, the whatnot. And they're a really good restaurant there. They're on the ball.
Oh, wow.
We were in a bubble. Nobody looked at us. Nobody saw us. Nobody greeted us. Nothing. And she was in tears. I was almost in tears. It was an extremely beautiful meeting.
But explain to them why was I in tears? How did it start? Because you introduced me to all the ascended masters. In your process of discovering the Sophia Code. And when you landed on White Buffalo Woman, that was me. I was absolutely sobbing. She was just handing tissues over to me.
Native American, here we go.
There I go.
And it
Proud
was
to be
beautiful.
one, thank you.
Absolutely. So maybe we should let you in on what Sophia Code actually is. So I'm going to tell you my story of how I found Sophia Code.
How she found you.
Thank you, actually,
Yes.
is more appropriate. So where do I start?
At the bookshop. You walked into the bookshop.
So I have a very particular bookshop in Lone Hill that for years I have gone in and out of, and I have found the exact teaching that I have needed. It's a particular bookshelf section of the bookshop. Anywhere else in the bookshop, nowhere. That particular space, I call it my little portal bookshop. And I had once before, a few years ago, about 9 years ago or so. No, about 8 years ago. Okay. Let me not lie. And I'd found a particularly potent teaching about how to feel the master. Sylvana was talking about the prongs, the piano, what they called? The tuning forks. Tuning forks. And it works on exactly that principle, that you have a guru, and it's a sort of more of a Hindu sort of cultural form of Buddhism. And you have this guru, and the guru teaches you how to sit within the feeling realm. And the more you feel the guru, the more the guru acts as that tuning fork that then starts to tune your frequency. So as you're tuning into the guru then resonates within you, and you clear your karma really, really quickly, and so you ascend. And this is the path.
Okay.
And so this is what I picked up there. Avatar. Oh no, he doesn't want to be known. Right. So next thing, we're talking about Sophia Code. Let's not get lost. So
now fast forward 9 years now. Come on, we want to hear the story.
There's no yum. This is part of the story. Sit down, be quiet. Stop being this naughty child. Right. So we go. The one day I wake up and I've got to be in my bonnet. I want to go to the shop. I don't know why. I've got the shop in mind. I want to go to the shop. So I finally wander into the shop, and I'm looking around, and this book jumps out at me. Sophia Code. That's interesting. It's got scales all over it. Okay, that's quite nice. I put it back. I carry on looking around. No, this book keeps catching my eye. So I pick the book up. I read the back. This is very interesting. It's speaking about all the feminine ascended masters. Normally it's Saint Germain and who else? So all the other saints and all of that. Normally on the masculine side, also angelic forces and things like that. This was the feminine ascended masters, and I thought, people keep talking about the feminine and how it's now so important, and it was, suppressed for so many years. Maybe I should look into this. This is quite interesting. So I put the book back. Can you believe it?
Again.
Well, I didn't have money. So I put the book back. I go home. I can't stop thinking about this book.
Wow.
So I go online and I do my research.
Yes.
And this book is just shining. It's just saying, you have to go back to the shop. You got to get that book. I bought it on my Kindle.
Yes.
But no, that wasn't good enough. I needed the book. So off I went. I managed to scrape money together. I went and I bought the book and I brought it home. And it was a Friday, and, things were busy, and it's, DVD night and damn takeaways, and I have a little family, so this is what we do. And the next day, the sun was shining beautifully. We went onto our balcony. My partner was busy with something. My child was busy drawing, and I thought, I'm going to read this, We're all quite, especially my partner, we've got a lovely connection. A spiritual connection. Yes. And so I thought, well, I'm going to read it out loud. My daughter needs to know about this. I'm not going to ask her. I'm just going to read it out. So I start reading. But now I don't go from the beginning of the book. I start with the initiation. Now, I don't know what I'm walking into. I have not a clue. I just know it's about ascended masters, and here is Isis, and I'm just going to start reading. She's laughing because she knows. Intense is not the word.
Not.
I have come up with a saying that Sylvana knows very well. This book is no longer a toe dip into spirituality. It is full, utter, and complete submersion. So I'm reading this, and it's all about how we are going deeper and deeper and deeper into a process. Now, this code, what happened eventually was I said to my family, I'm actually going to carry this on by myself in the room. And my partner went, I think so. And off we went, because we went deep into the histories of how we've betrayed ourselves, how others have betrayed us, and how we now need to forgive ourselves for all these things that have happened on a totally subconscious level, and where we found ourselves in situations in our history, in our past lives and things like this. So what I discovered was Sophia Code is actually a process, a deep, deep initiation into the feminine masters. And there's an introduction with every initiation of who this master is, who she was in her life, in a living, embodied life, like we are, you and me.
Yes.
And each of them had experience of being human and how they overcame that and reached deep, deep, deep states of enlightenment. And what the book explains is that these ascendant masters were brought together by Sophia, which is the
creatrix of the universe,
feminine God consciousness. It is the feminine aspect of God consciousness, which is our very material world and reality
and creation.
Absolutely, exactly, because that's the opposite of her. Is that deep creation out of nothing? There is now something, and this is the deep feminine principle. And she brought together these masters, these 8 beautiful masters, and each of them are assigned a human aspect in the path towards enlightenment and the deep feminine embedding in this planetary consciousness that we are now evolving into. And so each initiation deals with a different aspect of human consciousness from a deeply feminine perspective.
But it's more what I found, because when we started the whole process, we started in, I think it was middle January with me. And that whole process of the 6 or 7, 8 ascended masters took a process of 3 to 4 months, because we would meet and then we would cycle out every 2 weeks for that energy to settle into my body. What I found was, through years of programming and through timeline scars and through hereditary past life generational scars and bloodline contracts and spoken words and feelings that have carried through in my DNA, I had then become so scaled, if I could use that word. I'd become so covered with all these scars and this like covering. And what that initiation does, it strips it.
All the belief systems of human consciousness, not just your personal, but at a human consciousness level, clearing those belief systems.
But more so from a feminine point of view. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
More so from a feminine point of view. It strips that I have to always be independent. I always have to be the one that makes sure that everything happens. And I always have to wear the armor and the sword and the shield. Meantime, you don't. You actually don't. But because of all the programming that's been carrying on for centuries and for years and for timelines, you build this up. And that process strips it, rips it all apart. You are so uncomfortable after each session. Oh my freaking hell. The things that I'd experienced and went through and gone through each initiation was immense. It goes in deep. I can't explain it to you. I cannot put it into words. I cannot give it to you in a tangible concept and say to you, this is what it feels like. It is mind-blowing. And I'm glad that we had that coffee date. I'm glad that my guides pushed me to that point that said to me, you have to go and do this. Because in order for me to evolve, to get to my next level and to my next transition in my life and my path, I had to become softer. I was hard. I was rigid. Now I'm becoming softer. I'm becoming more pliable. I'm becoming more compassionate and empathetic. And I am becoming more feminine instead of more male. And because of wounds that so many women carry through all lifetimes, we become so more male instead of feminine. And that's what that initiation does.
Well, let's take it back a few steps. So, what is this process and what is it actually doing? So we have been cut off
Yes.
from our higher self. So you needed the priest, you needed the guru, you needed the rabbi, you needed the church, you needed all of these things in order to connect with God. The priest was the
gateway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we're living in a time where we no longer have to search outside of ourselves. It is now our responsibility
Internally
to take care of it within ourselves. So essentially, what these initiations do is it helps you connect at a much, much more tangible level to your higher self. And it is about realigning with that part of yourself, clearing the gunk that no longer serves, and then realigning and bringing that spirit in within yourself to realize that that is who you are. It's not something out there that you need to connect with. It is absolutely within every single individual being. And so what these initiations do is you go into a meditative state. So it's a guided meditation that you go through. And what the beauty of it is that it takes you deep into story and imaginings of the ascendant master. You see their wings. It's described what they look like, how they speak, what they're saying to you. And slowly but surely you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into your unconscious state, till eventually you reach a point of 0 point. There's a part of it where you're totally aligned with 0 point. What does that mean? Total being present right here, right now. Poof. You align with your higher self. You're in connection with that ascendant master. And like we were speaking with that tuning fork, you're now in total resonance with all of that. Then what happens is, in that 0 point, you are then going into your cells, your actual cells, the nucleus, everything there.
DNA level, strand.
You go into the DNA, and you, at a conscious level, with your higher self, connected with the ascendant master. So it's like a very deep initiation into shifting the DNA that needs to switch on and which need to be dealt with.
Yeah. Or removed even.
Yes. Some of them, but most of them, it's something that gets turned on. A light. When you get initiations from a guru, from an enlightened master, that is what they do. They resonate a field. They have a field frequency. And that master then opens you up to a point with his expertise of knowing how to work with frequency and energy. And they resonate that frequency. That is why it is important to feel the guru, because that's the secret. It's in feeling. It's not in thinking. It's not in understanding, using the brain. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with the heart. And once that heart is open and in frequency, then that guru comes in and initiates a new frequency within your system that you can then align with and work on building that frequency within yourself. The exact same thing happens with the Sophia Code. But now you're working with a discarnate, someone that's not in flesh. They're in frequency form all around you, and they're in frequency form within your being. So you're initiating into the frequency that they carry, changing and shifting your light so that you can now focus on that path and bring in the feminine, that deep feminine consciousness and light codes that now need to start shining and shining and shining and resonating within our space.
what it does ultimately to give because what we're discussing right now is extremely overwhelming for somebody who doesn't know anything about Sophia Code. It is honoring your feminine energy inside your body. That is as simple as I can give it to you. You're honoring your feminine energy that you have suppressed, that has been told to you and been conditioned into you to suppress. Put it aside. There's no space for your feminine energy in the working career, in the corporate career, in your personal life, in your daily construct of existence. Put it aside. It doesn't exist. And by you doing this, you are stepping into that honoring. I honor you. I see you. I acknowledge you. And I want you to come into my timeline. And what we don't realize, and what I think in my evolution and my conclusions of understanding, is that when you do these things and you go into that meditative state, when Gwen, takes you into it, you are stepping into a timeline that has already existed. All you're doing is you are dialing into that frequency. You are literally like a radio signal. When you're tuning a radio and trying to get a radio band, that is exactly what you're doing. You're dialing into that radio band, and you're seeing, because you go into meditative state, you're seeing images that you go and you go, when after you're done, you come out, you go, how was it possible for me to see these images and not understand where they come from? It is a frequency that has been sitting there dormantly, waiting for you to dial into that radio dial in, so that you can activate and honor your feminine energy that has been lying there waiting for you to step into it.
And once you step into it, my goodness, all things start aligning up. And what I found to be so beautiful was that it happens with everyday life events. And the thing that I most loved was when you trust that you are now connected, that you can bring in your higher self, that higher self is deeply connected to each individual ascendant master, that they are alive within you.
Correct.
And once you start doing that, I started doing walking meditation in Lone Hill Park. And I was able to hear what I needed to do. It took sometimes a week, 2 weeks doing the same sort of meditation thing. And they taught me how to open my chakras, how to bring the frequency in, how to do all of this stuff. They showed me exactly over a long period of time how to do it. And you realize how alive that communication is. You don't have to be telepathic. You don't have to be born special. Everyone can do it. I'm a normal, gewone person. And I learned so much about resonance, about frequency. I could start communicating with rocks, birds, elephants. I got the most magnificent teaching from an elephant. It is absolutely beautiful that you then take responsibility for your own growth. You don't need the priest. You don't need the guru. In fact, you don't even need books. You need community. We're a small community, and we're building community here. This helps that we can talk about it and we can realize I'm not going crazy. I am actually feeling and hearing, and things are new. Things are totally different. But the thing to realize is it is a path of great courage, because within this you are faced with that mirror that doesn't lie. And that mirror isn't the mirror of this outer surface.
Internally.
It's, what do I believe? What are my beliefs?
And what am I allowing? And what if I said no, not no to? And by saying no more, I no longer tolerate, I no longer allow it. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. And it's a lot of people around you, especially your family, don't necessarily like the new version. Trust me, I know.
And also, they can challenge you, on certain things. The mirror acts both ways. It doesn't matter. It doesn't just come from within here. things from left field come at you and you go, whoa, okay, that's interesting. And you need to really be able to understand contemplation in understanding, what is this coming towards me? Why is this here? So instead of meeting it up and going, well, they should have, you then look at, this person came at me with this thing. What isn't resonating with him, and what am I uncomfortable with? And then start questioning the discomfort. It's all about asking the right questions. Am I asking myself the right questions? Not everybody else. Me.
Correct.
How am I behaving? How do I believe this should be?
No.
And allowance is a big thing.
So, coming back to the energy thing, you mentioned that, walking into a bookstore, everything is energy. The chair I'm sitting in is energy. And those books are resonating the energy that we needed to know to activate ourselves. All I can tell you, because we don't have enough time, if we wanted to talk about this topic the entire day, we would have a 50 gig size video at the end of the day. All I can tell you is, if you want to connect with Gwen, after we've uploaded the video on my portals that I've got on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok, you want her number, connect with her, get in touch with her. I can highly recommend you to set aside this transition to go through, so that you can, especially for a woman, it is so critical for us as collectively as women to pull ourselves back into ourselves, to become the teachers, the guides, the mentors, the carers, the healers of the planet, to heal Mother Gaia as a whole, so that she can start healing from internally again, outwardly, so that we can rise into our golden age. We will not be able to do that if we don't have enough healers and hands and mentors and guides to come together to heal Mother Gaia.
And it's up to us to make that connection within ourselves. And doing the Sophia Code has been an extremely powerful journey for me. And I've been on this journey my whole life. I've met enlightened masters, the gurus, the priests, the rabbis. I've had conversations with them. I've done practices. But Sophia Code has a depth that is unequaled in anything else that I have found. And when you use it in conjunction with meditation and any practices that you are currently doing, it just jumps you to its full submersion, like I said.
It elevates you. What it does from a connection point of view, especially for a woman, it makes a woman realize that she is so powerful.
And that she is a gift.
Correct. And
you
power
are a gift.
Yes.
And once you know that and can understand it, you can hear it, you can understand it with your brain, you can know the words and have a vague idea of it, but you have no idea the potential that sits deep within what we're made of. And it takes that frequency of alignment to get there.
Yeah. So thank you again. It was lovely meeting with you on the other side of the screen. Thank you for your support with the videos. We have had responses. It's been great. Thank you so much for
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. And we will keep on doing this. We are not going to stop. We will not be silenced, unfortunately. We are going to make...
Fortunately,
we don't
have a party.
We are making people uncomfortable, and that's necessary.
Yes.
You need to be made uncomfortable so that you can realize that the way that you've been doing things for however long, centuries, lifetimes, hasn't been the right way of doing things.
Might not work anymore.
Exactly.
This is the new way.
Definitely.
So thank you for absorbing all this information.
And if you want to know more, you are more than welcome to connect with Gwen. We will share her details on the post that I'm going to drop there.
The description,
with your permission.
Yes. I've learned.
And then connect with her. And next topic, next week Tuesday, is we're going to talk all about the DNA. You need to understand how powerful your DNA is and what you are exactly, actually. not what you've been told through all your life, especially in this timeline, through the system and controlling. No, you've got no idea how powerful your DNA is and what you're capable of doing and being.
Very exciting stuff. So we will see you next week.
See you next week, Tuesday. We dial in, we arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning, we set up and we get ready, and then we just start and we record, and then we upload it into the ether, into the web for the entire world to see. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely seeing you again, and we will see you next week, Tuesday.
Bye, beloveds.
Bye.